let me just discuss about the fantasy tips, which is for your FPL, that what players you can have and what would be those strategies which you can incorporate. Now, before this, let me just get back to what we did last game week also. And if I talk about me, what I predicted. So out of 10 games, I got four exactly the same scores which I predicted. The games against which was Brighton and Burnley, Southampton, Newcastle, West Brom, Tottenham. That game, I told to my panel that this would be a very tricky game, and Tottenham would just nick it, and it happened in that phase also, as well as I would say Leeds and Leicester and Wolves game also, which I predicted correctly 1-0, and there were a couple of games which I predicted the winner correctly, but could not get the exact score. So, like the teams are settling in, even my predictions are settling in also. And if I talk about the fantasy picks for this game week now, this game week is going to be a very exciting game week because firstly it is coming after an international break. Now the challenge which we all face is, firstly we were all worried about the injuries which people used to have when they were away in their duties. Now the biggest challenge which people are facing is not only injuries but the COVID restrictions. The people who are now not able to come, like Salah, I mean, he got COVID positive. So the first real advice which I would like to give you is that do not make your team before Friday. See till Friday when managers do their pre-match conferences. Wait for those updates before you even decide anything on this. And let me call out, this is the best game week for you to use your wild card, which the person sitting in front of me, Rajat, has already done that. And I would also show you Rajat's team also. You can just see Rajat's team also in front of you. So let's talk about what I did in my fantasy team last week and how much points I scored. See, I was able to score 78 points last game, and if you can just see my team in front of you, I had I would say my midfield was pretty good because I had Bruno Fernandes in the midfield. I had Jack Grealish, I had Mane. Son missed out, which was very rare for a game week. But in front, I had Kane, who was my captain. I had Calvin Lewin, and how I made more points was because my defense was pretty solid. I had Lamptey from Brighton. I had Walker Peters, which Rajat has also discussed about the efficiency of this player, and obviously Martinez as the keeper also. Now I had 13 points on the bench as well, which I could have used wisely. So Balbuena of West Ham I had on the bench, and Konsa also. Had I used those players properly, I would have scored actually 90 points in this game week. So it would have been a pretty good effort, I would say. Still, I was able to do well. Now, if I talk about how you need to proceed for this game week, my first advice would be that do not believe that high scoring defenders, like we have discussed in the last game week, would be beneficial to you. So if you have anybody like Trent Alexander-Arnold, since he's injured, I'm not, even if he comes back, cannot have that player. You cannot have Andre Robertson. I think the highest value defender which you can have is Ben Chilwell, because not only because of the games which Chelsea have a favorable games. If you can see the list of the top 5 games which we are calling for team in the next 5 games. So Chelsea has a decent amount of fixtures, and their score is somewhere, their average is pretty decent. The teams which have an easier games is Aston Villa, one of the teams. Manchester City is another team. So if you are really keen to invest in that long term, you can use players from those teams also. But if I talk about my defensive preferences, if you're using your wildcard, if you can have it, you can have Joao Cancelo, as Rajat has rightly said. The amount of chances he creates for Man City, the amount of crosses he makes, that is one. You have Aaron Cresswell also, and you can definitely have Ben Chilwell, as I have said. Another tip which I would like to give you is that since your midfield has to have high valued players, चाहे वो केविन डी ब्रुयना की मैं बात करूं, चाहे मैं ब्रूनो फर्नांडिस की बात करूं. Now Mo Salah is not available for this game week. Maybe you can have Sadio Mane for this game week. You can have Son. So to have that money, you can have those forward lines which can have a cheaper option. Like Ole Watkins for Aston Villa. As I said, Aston Villa has the easiest fixtures coming along also. Then you have Patrick Bamford from Leeds. You can have Shea Adams, and obviously Calvin Lewin is one of the players which, as I've said, he would be there and thereabout. You need to save money for a strong midfield, and that is what I believe would be a very, very stronger thing. Another thing, if you really want to spend big on any forward, then I think you should go for Timo Werner also, because Werner has those games which I believe Chelsea would be, would be able to at least score a goal in each of the games which are coming along. So for a futures perspective, Timo Werner is one. One player which I've missed is Hakim Ziyech of Chelsea. I think that is one of the most important players right now. The player in form, he has in fact shown in a couple of games the amount of chances he has created, the number of points he has accumulated. So that player is must if you are really looking for a long-term strategy.